Welcome to the Lights, Camera, Rant podcast. Your source for the latest on movies, TV shows, and video games. Get ready for ranting, raving, and reviewing. Here is your host, Lee.
Yeah, boy! Welcome, everybody, to the 1 year anniversary of Lights, Camera, Rant. Holy shit. 52 weeks since this all started. 56 episodes, 10 special episodes, other specials in between. 52 weeks that we have been going strong since we started Lights, Camera, Rant. And the journey, guys, all I could say, it's been one hell of a ride. And I thank everybody who's tuning in this week and everybody who's tuning in every single week and has gone along this journey with me ever since day dot. So, because it's a celebration, almost yet, Lights, Camera, Rant's birthday, let's start the festivities, if you will. Yeah. Now that's how I like to celebrate my birthday and Lights, Camera, Rant's birthday, which, before we get into today's festivities, I would like to say, definitely please go share, like, subscribe to Lights, Camera, Rant. It helps a lot. And obviously, go follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You know all the socials. You know the drill. Just have to say it first before we get started. And obviously, a big shout out, because if you do want to celebrate Lights, Camera, Rant's birthday, jump all over to the merchandise store and pick yourself up a hat, t-shirt, jumper, tank top, what you name it. That would be the ultimate birthday present for myself and for this journey. So if you do, thank you very much. And if you do pick it up, please tag, share. We'd love to see you check it out and styling the Lights, Camera, Rant merch. That'd be fantastic. But, yeah, 52 weeks. So before anyone asks, I do understand the fact that this episode is episode 56. So if you draw back, if we turn the clocks back a year, when we launched, I launched 3 episodes at once so the fact there was a decent amount of content if someone obviously started listening in. So that's why the 1 year anniversary lands on episode 56 instead of 3 episodes ago. And I just, drawing back a year when I started doing this, it was just, and not many people might know, I've mentioned in the past episodes, is that, I've always wanted a podcast idea has always been in a pin idea in the back of my mind for a very long time, longer than a year. And me and my friends, Dean, Mark, Perry, we always used to go to a movie, which we still do. And after we go see a movie, we'd always discuss it, break it down. What could it lead to, especially Marvel movies? And we'd always try and figure out what's going to happen next and always be excited for what happens next. That even our partners would even drive in separate cars and leave because of the fact that we were still talking for another hour later. And it was funny because we still do that now. And, just trying to, because we'd be so excited. And I'd always used to say, we rant this much, what would happen if we put in a podcast idea? And all those guys said that if you want to do a podcast, go and do it. Just pull the trigger on it. And a big shout out to them, and a big shout out to Maddie as well, my partner in crime, who pushed me as well and has been supportive along this journey ever since day dot. And it's been, as I said, one wild ride. This podcast was also born out of passion and being stuck in lockdown. Because at the time we were in lockdown, one of the longest lockdown times in our state of Victoria here in Australia. And at the time we couldn't leave our house more than 5Ks. Only shops were open was liquor stores and your Coles or your shopping, your Woolies or your Walmart for anyone international. And that was all that was open. So you really couldn't do much. So anything binging movies or TV shows, that was really what you could do, or anything you want to do around the house. So I thought, this is probably the best time to start a podcast because there was nothing I could do. So for weeks, I was talking with Dean and Mark and Maddie and Perry about ideas. We were throwing things around. I was researching all about it, and I thought, oh, should I do it? Should I not do it? And then it all came to an idea. I thought, no, you know what? I have nothing to lose, which I can tell anybody who wants to start a podcast as listening, you have nothing to lose if you start a podcast. You're putting your creativity out there. You're putting your voice, your opinion, you're sharing your experiences, and I recommend anybody. A year later, I recommend anybody to start a podcast. Yes, there is, I'd say, billions of podcasts out there. On different subjects. Niche subjects. On how to cut a triangle properly. No joke. If you search it, there will be a podcast on how to quilt. Is anything. And the fact is, all you have to do is start a podcast, if you want to get your creativity out there, and somebody will listen. Somebody will listen to you because, you can be engaging and people want to hear your point of view, And at the very start, don't get me wrong, I was nervous when this all started because it was, who would listen to me, who would listen to me, and I thought, I've got nothing to lose. Even if it's just one person that listens every single week, the fact that, you're still reaching out to that person means a lot. And then when people do reach out to you on social media and, engage with your posts or engage, how good your episode was, and it's, just those moments are just so special to me. And honestly, it's just a big shout out to, everybody that does participate and, listens every week. It means the absolute world to me from the bottom of my heart to everybody who's listening to right now. I thank you for this journey, being on this journey, and I look forward to the many years to come, especially when we hit our 100th episode. That's just going to be absolutely mind-blowing. The fact that it's going to be 2 years is just, just mind-boggling just thinking about it. So when we started this podcast, Lights, Camera, Rant. So if I start a name, so what we're going to do for this episode is we're going to reflect on the 1 year history of Lights, Camera, Rant. We've got some people, previous guests who are going to pop in and say hello, and then we're going to move on to the news and the reviews, which is going to be Kenobi. It's going to be Miss Marvel. We're looking at The Boys. We're looking at Jurassic World Dominion. And we're looking at Top Gun. We have a full episode loaded for you guys. So stay tuned all the way to the end. So getting back to the history of Lights, Camera, Rant. So originally, trying to come up with a name, I had the Morgan Experience. I had the Morgan Program, being my last name. And, one of the hardest things was also what kind of podcast I wanted to be. Did I want to do a niche or, did I want to just broaden my horizons? And at one point there was an idea to just be a Marvel podcast and just focus on Marvel. But, after a lot of debating with the boys and Maddie, we thought, that could be, definitely that's a big passion of mine. Anyone who listens in would know that. But, we just thought that it could be too much niche, but to broaden your horizons. And obviously multiple different passions. As you guys would have seen in the past week, I've been sharing all the games from Summer Game Fest. There was so many games that came out. That's a deep passion of mine. And obviously the TV shows to follow. Because it was almost like, speaking to Maddie about it, she was like, what's your passion? I was like, video games, TVs, movies. And you're like, well, there you go. There you go. So then it came to trying to think of a name that, crosses all the board. And so, it came up with the Morgan Experience, the Morgan Program, the Morgan Equational, that was another one as well. Looking back on this, I was like, oh, God. And then it came to a point where I was like, what do we usually do? You usually rant on and on and on. I was like, all right, so let's go with Rant. But I was like, how do you put that into a name? And I thought, and then eventually, after multiple different tries, we came with Lights, Camera, Rant, which I also recommend for anyone who's starting a podcast, search up your name a lot of times to make sure that nobody else has a name. So when you type your name into a search engine, yours comes up. So that's how the name for Lights Camera Rant came about. And then when we set on the name, I think that's what really drove me, is that once I got the name set, everything else was, to follow, starting to record, trying to find the best platform to go onto. And I was shown, obviously, different platforms when I was researching. Anchor appealed to me the most due to its accessibility, how easy it is to use, the fact that you can record on the go, and it's obviously linked to Spotify, so you can make musical episodes as well, and that just was absolutely appealing to me. And I honestly cannot say enough how easy, oh my god, I should get paid for this, how easy it has been to use Anchor and how to, record, and edit episodes. It's just the accessibility. To this day, I don't, obviously background is I don't actually have a laptop that I do record on. I have my phone that I record every single episode on. I have a little Apple cord, multiple cord that I can plug my mic into, and I have my iPad and just a book. That's the extensivity of all the hardware for Lights Camera Rant. And obviously we've got the stand, the light, and even when I do my video episodes, it's still all off my iPhone 11. And that's just how simple it is to start creating a podcast. Yes, there's way to improve. I have so much on Amazon wish list to completely expand the hardware and the repertoire of Lights Camera Rant to bring you guys better quality across the board. So that's definitely in the works. But yeah, so far that's all it is, just my phone, and just how easy it has been to start a podcast. And Anchor has all the connections with Spotify, all the analytics, and even Spotify does also offer to make your promo for your podcast. If you haven't already, there's a section for podcasters on Spotify which offer a lot of options, and you can see your downloads, all the analytics, and that appealed to me. So when we got the platform, then we got the ball rolling into that. Now the next challenge was, we got episode 1, 2, and 3. So we started with that, and I created my own intro and outro at the very start. So before I go any further, let's go take a small stroll down memory lane. And what I have for you guys is the very first, which you can still check out now, the very first intro and outro of Lights Camera Rant. Hi, my name is Lee, and I am your host of the Lights Camera Rant podcast. Thank you for joining me today. We'll be talking about the latest in movies, TV shows, and video games. Without any further delay, let's get into it. As always, guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining me for another episode of Lights Camera Rant. Please like, share, and subscribe to get notifications of all future episodes. Until next time, guys, happy ranting. See ya. Oh, God. Do you guys enjoy that? When I listen back, I think to myself, looking and going, yep, you know what? That just shows you how far we've come in this first video. So those first two intro and outro, that was like the third versions of both trying to create. Because oh god, I've got my own intro and outro. Shit. So that was they're actually version 3. I'm not going to show you the very first version because I butchered that as all hell. Both the intro and outro. So I kept that for the first few episodes, and it got to the point where I was like, you know what? I need to update this. I need to update this. I wanted to sound more clear, so I went to an app called Fever or Fiverr, don't know how to pronounce it properly, and I looked up and I outsourced, obviously, how to, for an intro and outro, and that's what you hear right now every single episode. Because it got, it was the 4th or 5th episode. I was like, yeah, I need to change this. I need to update this. And, and the funny thing, that was the first draft. The blog that I spoke to, there was the first draft for the intro and outro that you hear right now. And I freaking loved it. I was like, yes, sold. It was perfect. And, the rest is history. So that's how the intro and outro came about. And the logo, similar thing, went to the Fiverr app, looked around through a whole through people, and I found somebody to create a podcast logo, and that's what you see right now. And that exact same person, I have continued to go back to the exact same person who helped with the guest podcast logo, the musical episode logo, and the video podcast logo. I still went back to the same person every time because my creativity skills are, trying to draw and everything are absolutely shit. Absolutely god-awful. So I've gone back to, so that's, every person who I've enlisted services to help in the podcast, I've gone back to them every single time because of how fantastic job they have done. And it shows, I love the logo. Absolutely. It's my 2 favorite colors, black and red, name's right there. And I think every time the logo has changed to complement an episode, it still looked fantastic and the quality is still there. And, once I got the logo and fixed the intro, I felt like it was all really coming together. The logo was obviously at the very start, but then obviously we updated the intro and outro later on. And then, that was episode 4 or 5. We updated the intro and outro, and, 40 episodes later, we created the new intro and outro for the video episodes, which you do see now on 2 episodes right now is the intro and outro. And that's been fantastic. And then obviously before that, I also dabbled in 2 video game reviews, and did the for both Guardians of the Galaxy video game and Evil Genius 2, which was a fantastic dabble in trying to do that. And I found this app called, was it LumaFusion? That's it. LumaFusion is what I use to edit my videos. It is so easy. I only use it on my iPad. Again, all I use is my iPad and my phone. Everything you see produced, both the intro and outro, the videos, all of that is just made with those 2 devices. And LumaFusion, which you can download, it's $50 in the App Store. It's so easy to use, and the fact that at the time, when I did release the 2 video game reviews at the start of the year, Anchor didn't have the video option yet, so it had an option to export it in both video format and audio format, which was essential to make sure the fact that it could go on YouTube and it could go onto Anchor, which now, thanks to the video portion of the fact into Anchor now, is that I can just export the video in one go, and it goes everywhere. That's the biggest thing. If you told me the fact that in 1 year later you're going to be doing video podcasting, I'd be like, oh, look, mate, that's the dream, but you're full of shit. And here we are. Here we are. And every episode has been so much fun. I've tried to make sure the fact that you guys stay up to date, and the quality stays exactly the same or higher, to make sure we're always improving every single time. And yes, you've heard Parker, you've probably heard a car. I do this in my spare room. So just the elements, obviously, you do here. I love it when someone takes their bin down the side street next to my house when I'm trying to record. I'm like, you couldn't do that any other time. You couldn't do that any time. Thank you. So that's been a lot of fun. And, it's also been a really big help is obviously both bouncing off the ideas of Mark and Maddie to, the different episodes that we've made. The musical episodes have been a lot of fun. The missing episode ones, the specials have also been fun. But you know what has been the most fun, I will have to say, is the guests. Everyone who's appeared on Lights, Camera, Rant, has been a lot of fun. Because, when I started doing this, I was like, talking about myself. And there was no original plan. There was no ever plan to have a co-host. It was always going to be my journey, the entire time. You know, it was me wanted to do this. Don't get me wrong, sometimes I do wish I had a co-host because the fact that just to bounce off somebody, but at the same time, like, you know what? No, you can hear my voice and only my voice because it sounds fantastic. And when I laugh at a joke, it's me laughing at my own joke. So there was never an idea for a co-host. When I first started, it was a lot. I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this on my own, and I'm going to try and do the very best that I can do. And the very first episodes, obviously just me, and then I went straight to Dean and Mark because Perry, God bless his soul, he's joined the military. He's moved into he had to move away to a few states away, so we couldn't get him at the time. So it was Dean and Mark, and we started the first guest episode on episode 5 with ranting with the boys. And what I have for you very special is that both Maddie, Mark, Dean, Courtney, Perry, and the guys from Nerd Dose have all taken their time out and said some really nice things that I'm absolutely touched by. And, these guys have been the guests, and the fact that they've said some really nice words. So we're going to hear from previous guests who've come on Lights, Camera, Rant. Let's go.
Congratulations on your very first year of Lights, Camera, Rant. It's been so amazing to see you enjoy doing something all about movies, TV shows, and video games, as well as music. It's been really interesting to hear your take on lots of different TV shows and movies, and it's been lots of fun being able to record a few episodes with you, particularly the Christmas special, and just talk about what we really enjoy and our interests about similar TV shows that we might like. I wish you all the very best. It's been so great to see you do something that you really love and enjoy, and I know there's really exciting things to come. Well done.
Hello, one and all. It is Mark here from Mark My Words. Thank you, Lee, for allowing me to speak for your 1-year anniversary. I am so proud of you. You've done so well. Ever since from the first episode, I've listened to every single episode of Lights, Camera, Rant, and nothing is going to stop that. This man has not missed one single week. He is killing it. This is the #1 podcast for all things pop culture. If you want any news, any reviews, this is the place to be, other than Mark My Words. Little plug, had to do it. But I'm so proud of you, mate. You've done so well, and you're only going to get better. This podcast is going to explode, and everyone needs to jump on this. So proud of you, mate. Just well done, and here's to another year. See you later.
Big shout out, Lights, Camera, Rant, celebrating 1 year. So awesome, man. Super proud of you. Let's keep going. Many more episodes to come. Lots of content coming our way soon. Let's get after it. Happy ranting.
Hey, little bro. Congrats on the 1 year of Lights, Camera, Rant. Thank you again for inviting me to be on one of your podcast episodes. Hopefully we can do another one someday in the future. Good luck.
Happy anniversary, Lee. We're so happy for you, man.
Congratulations, man. We've pretty much been there ourselves, having a 1-year anniversary of podcasting. I just hope that you will continue to do more.
We're so happy we've got to meet you. We love talking about movies with you. As you know, we go on for hours and hours. It's been such a blast to collaborate with you. We love listening to your podcast. You do a great job. You truly are inspiring for us, and we honestly consider you a great friend.
Yeah, so I just hope that you will have another awesome year with podcasting. Just keep up the great work. Hopefully we can do some projects later on in the future. Maybe even get some more guests later on as well. So we're going to be continue rooting for you and hope everything ends up well in the future for you.
Yeah, you got this, man. Keep going. No stopping you.
Congratulations, Lee, on 1 year with Lights, Camera, Rant. Enjoyed all your rants so far, and I look forward to a lot more ranting. Enjoy, man. I hope you go far, and I hope that many other people come to enjoy your rants, and you can keep on ranting.
Look, God, it almost just brings a tear to your eye. Really, all I could say is, guys, thank you very much, all of you, for the kind words and for taking your time out of your day to shout out. It means the world to me. You know, Maddie was on episode 8 and we did a Christmas special together. Mark, we did episode 5 together, episode 25, episode 48 of Lights Camera Rant. Dean, we did episode 5 and 25 together. Corny appeared on episode 13. The Nerd Dose, my first international guests, they were on the very first international guest episode, and they were on episode 49 as well. Perry was on episode 9, and the 2 other guests that we did have was Max, who was on the biggest box office hits of all time and the highest grossing comedies of all time, and we also had Jack, who was on episode 43. Unfortunately, at the time they weren't able to shout out, but they did also say congratulations, which personally, which I thank them for. And guys, you know, that was just them. I still have so many more guests that are going to come later this year that I can't wait to announce and to let you know who is coming. And I look forward to all of them making another appearance. And honestly, let me know in the comments, who did you like the most and who would you like to make another appearance to come back on? You know, any of those who you request for, just let me know, and we'll make an arrangement, you know, and see what we can do. But I can guarantee you all of them will be making another appearance at some point, and you guys gotta stay tuned to all the new guests. As I said, I can't wait to tell you who's coming on. And you know, the guest episodes are some of the most fun episodes that I've made of Lights Camera Rant, just because of the interaction and getting them on. And I think episode 5, which was the very first one, is my longest episode to date, which was 2 hours and 10 minutes of just me, Dean, and Mark just ranting for, you know, just covering multiple different topics. That was the longest episode I've ever created, and everything's short, you know, just then. And that was a big fun episode with the very first guest. And now the last episode we had was the Nerd Dose guys, and they both, shout out to both Kyle and Zach. They honestly, their podcast is on the rise, so you better catch it and go follow them as well, because they're going straight up. And yeah, it's been one, I know I've kept saying it, but it's just, honestly, it's been one hell of a journey. And just the guest episodes are fantastic, special episodes. And, you know, honestly, we're going to keep trucking along. Lights Camera Rant is still coming out every Tuesday. So far, we haven't missed a single week. Honestly, I think the only week where I almost didn't make a Tuesday was the fact the episode came, instead of, I tried to make sure the episode comes out, you know, 5 to 6 o'clock Australian Melbourne time. But I think that one week the episode came out at probably about 2 or 3 o'clock, because I was coming back away from a long weekend. So I ran out of time trying to just do everything. Because I usually, you know, try and record to make sure everything's prepped and primed on Tuesday, so there's no delays for everybody, or international. And international, you know, we're there's Australia, Melbourne, was it Germany? We're in Portugal, Mongolia, Iceland, UK, India. You know, completely world coverage for Lights Camera Rant, and it completely humbles me to see the fact that there's even other people in other countries that enjoy listening to these podcasts. And you know who you are, and a big shout out to all of you who are international that listen to this podcast. Round of applause. So that, guys, that is the wonderful history of Lights Camera Rant, what we've got in store. And without further ado, let's get into what you guys love the most, which is the news, and into the reviews, which I sound like Dr. Seuss. Yeah, boy. So, guys, first things first, straight off the bat, you better have your Thor 4 tickets, because they have gone on sale. I got my tickets straight away, both for all the boys and our partners, so that's all locked in. Can't wait. You know, I've gone to the movies this past weekend. I saw Jurassic Park, Dominion, and Top Gun. And honestly, like, Thor trailer got posted twice, played twice, and the Thor 4 trailer played. We're also getting food, so it's just made me more hyped up for this, and I honestly can't wait. So you guys better have your tickets. You know, honestly, it's going to be a good movie. It's interesting the fact that it is going to be the shortest Marvel movie, I think, since 2012 or 2013. That does make me a little bit nervous, but at the same time, you know, you can still have a 2-hour movie and pack in a lot of content. You know, we've never known the time until someone posted that. So, you know, it doesn't matter. But honestly, get your tickets now, guys. They're on sale. Don't miss a beat, because as soon as it comes out, the review on Lights Camera Rant is going to be straight off the bat coming out. Moving on, still good with comic book news. The Joker 2. Now, this is... just watch. You can just hear my excitement come straight down. So, last week, we saw the fact that Joker 2 got announced. Fantastic, you know, that's great. But the rumors are circling around right now, the fact that apparently it's going to be a musical, and apparently Lady Gaga is in early talks to play Harley Quinn. Which, when I saw this news, I was like, what the hell? What? Hey, these are only rumors at this stage, yes. However, if that is indeed the case, then I don't want this. I don't want this at all. I don't need a Joker musical. And Lady Gaga is a fantastic actor. She does very well. But I don't know if I could see her as Harley Quinn. You know, Margot Robbie does a fantastic job as Harley Quinn. But yes, I do understand the conversation, the fact that yes, they're separate. Yeah, separate between the DCU and whatever the Joker is. But why? There is nothing, I can guarantee you, there is no demand for a Joker sequel that is a musical. And if anyone's listening that does want that, please message me and I'm going to tell you that you're wrong. I just don't get it. When I saw it, I thought that better not be true, because that sounds like a big pile of flaming garbage, which will make the first Joker bring that down, and no one asked for it. No one asked for this, if that's indeed the case. So yeah, guys, that is the rumor going around for Joker 2, which obviously it's not confirmed. No one's come out and said anything, but honestly, I really hope not. I'm not even excited for the sequel, because I don't believe there should have been. First Joker was just a solid movie that didn't need a sequel. I understand that people have asked for it, but I don't know where they're going to go. And to me, I would have been like, no, let's not make a sequel. Let's just leave it on its own. But hey, that's just me. Moving on to more other news. Mark my words. Mark Diamond. If you're following Mark My Words, you will have seen that our man has hit 400 followers on Instagram and has 52 subscribers on YouTube. Well done, man. Sky is the limit, and you have no idea what's going to come next, because it's just going to blow up. You need to go follow this man. The next 6 months, he is just going to skyrocket. The man has like 5 weeks plan of content for you guys. He's that much forward thinker than I am each week. He's telling me on the daily what he's going to be doing, what he's got planned. And, you know, I can't wait for him to show you what he's going to be bringing out to you guys. Especially the fact that he's got big plans for the YouTube channel and something else, which I'll let him announce that. Can't wait for him to do it, and you guys are going to love it. So please go jump onto his profile, like it, and as well as subscribe to his YouTube. The man is going places. And same thing with like the Nerd Dose. You guys need to jump on for the ride. So congratulations, Mark. Well done. Moving on, Loki Season 2 has officially started filming. That's underway from the director's Instagram post. That's straight away. So if Loki season 2 started filming right now, I would say we should get Loki 2 mid to late next year. Probably more late next year, I would predict we would see it. And especially, how was this going to tie in with everything that happened at the end of Doctor Strange and what happened with Doctor Strange? Of course, with Kang the Conqueror, I can't wait for more Loki. Honestly, Tom Hiddleston is that character, all fantastic. And Loki season 1 was great and kept you on the edge of your feet the whole time. And it's why one of my very top shows for the Marvel TV shows of last year. It was just fantastic. Still speaking of Disney, which I wish this happened last year, all the Spider-Man movies, except for 2, are currently on Disney+. So Spider-Man 1, 2, 3, Amazing, and Amazing Spider-Man 2, both Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, are all on Disney Plus now. So Spider-Man 1, 2, 3, Amazing Spider-Man 1, 2, and Spider-Man Homecoming, Not Far From Home, are all on Disney Plus at the moment. So when I saw that, I was like, yes, and at the same time I was like, I really wish this happened last year. This would have been really handy to watch all these before we saw Spider-Man No Way Home, because Australian Netflix, when I was trying to binge watch the films, had Spider-Man 2 and 3 on it, and I only had the Amazing Spider-Man 2 on it. And I was like, that's really, really annoying. So here's me trying to jump between streaming service to try and see what's on, try and binge watch. So it's been really handy. But yeah, guys, all the Spider-Man films are on there right now. So I predict the fact that this distribution rights for the other streaming services had ended, and Disney bought that. And obviously, Netflix will have the rights to Far From Home at the moment. So as soon as that's done, Disney will throw money at that and get that. And the same thing will be for No Way Home. It's funny how the fact that they have to do that for a property that they own, but they're sharing. For Sony, of course. Because, Sony makes great content. Let's look at Morbius. Let's bring it back to the theaters and let's bomb again. Because, it's mobbing time. Oh my God, shoot me. I can't believe I just said that. Just shoot me. Oh God, the memes. I swear the memes. But anyway, for all One Punch fans, you should be happy to know the fact that the One Punch movie, live action movie, has found their director, Justin Lin, who directed the Fast and Furious movies. He's attached to direct the film. So that's now pressing forward with him. No release date at this stage, but that is in production. I'm quite curious to see how that is going to come out. Obviously with the anime style, and the fact that we get that before a Dragon Ball Z movie. Anger is the blood. But then again, we got Dragon Ball Evolution, which was complete and utter garbage. Oh, God, it was bad. Moving on, it is also time to say goodbye to Internet Explorer, guys. June 15th, Microsoft has announced it will no longer be supported. So, nearly 25 years for Internet Explorer, which, at one point was the most premier browser. And then it became the most premier browser to use to find a better browser. Unfortunately. So that is the wonderful history of Internet Explorer. So it's time to say goodbye to an old friend, which is, 25 years is a long years, but it was definitely, you could have almost pulled the plug a few years ago on Internet Explorer. Yeah, it's been dead in the water for a very long time. But say goodbye to Internet Explorer. Moving on, for any Avatar: The Last Airbender fans, so there is an Avatar: The Last Airbender media studio that was opened, I do believe last year or the year before that. They've opened up so they can completely focus on bringing new content in that universe to the big screen and small screen, which has been announced that there's actually 3 movies in production for Avatar in that universe. No word of what particular movies they will cover, but there are 3 movies in production. So very curious to see which aspect they will cover. Obviously, they will be animated because the live-action Avatar movie was utterly garbage. Utterly shit. That was very, very bad. That was also terrible. Yeah, anyone who ever does like it, I'm amazed that you do. Also, has started filming, moving on, is Ironheart, a Disney Plus show, which I presume will come out late next year if it started filming, which is about a character called Riri Williams, who in the comics, she takes on the legacy of Iron Man, and she's extremely intelligent, and she builds a new Iron Man suit, inspired by Tony Stark. So we will be getting to see that aspect, and the fact that we will see a brand new Iron Man suit. So we'll get that, and we also get Armor Wars. So even though Tony is dead, God rest his soul, R.I.P., his presence is still felt in the MCU so many years later on, which, as it should be, being the very first man who started it all. Between those two shows and everything that was felt in Homecoming and Far From Home as well for his legacy. And then we even see his legacy again in Ms. Marvel with the Shrine, which is really good. But yeah, that started feeling very curious to see how that's going to come about in the first trailer. Also, for any Fallout fans, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer for Fallout 5. The owner of the creator, obviously, of Fallout, have decided the fact that they will go. Well, not decided the fact, they announced. They've announced the fact that Fallout 5 will come out after Elder Scrolls 6. So that is the timeline for that, which I think after the dismal Fallout 76, it was absolute, a complete and utter bomb of a game. I think Fallout 5 is well requested at this stage. Even though Fallout 4 was a great game, and then we got Fallout 76, which was a shell, a mess, as we all know. That was just, even before it launched, we all knew this was going to be a bomb, which guess what? It was. And anyone who I know does play Fallout 76 still goes back and just plays Fallout 4. That's, because it's just so shit. For any Venom fans, Tom Hardy confirmed on his Instagram the fact that the Venom 3 script is currently underway and being written. Interesting enough that the subheading had been blacked out, so it's going to be very curious to see what that was. But yes, Venom 3 script is underway, so I'm guessing we'll see that in the next 2 to 3 years. It's going to be interesting to see where Venom sets up, and if we're going to see Morbius, because you guys, we want more Morbius, right? We want to see him teaming up with everybody. Now, I can't wait for him to be in the MCU, right? Yeah, I can wait. Just need Disney to buy Sony and fix their effing mess. Also, if you're going to go see Buzz Lightyear, or just the Lightyear movie, definitely stay after, because there's 3 post-credit scenes after the credits. So definitely stay tuned for that if you're going to see Lightyear. For any Game of Thrones fans, they're currently in the works for a prequel series with Kit Harington returning to play Jon Snow. That's currently in the works, which, when I did see this get announced, I currently wasn't too shocked. Obviously, his popularity. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out with the Game of Thrones and how that will fit with everything else. And obviously, everything going to happen later this year with the Game of Thrones prequel, A House of the Dragon. And for any kids that were born in the 90s, if you're a Hercules fan, you're in for a treat, because Guy Ritchie has been attached to direct the new Hercules live-action movie. Very curious to see how that's going to turn out, but that is going to be in the works. So Guy Ritchie, if you don't know, obviously he directed Aladdin, so he's returning again for another live-action Disney film. And he also directed the Sherlock Holmes movies as well. So, going to see, how that Hercules... Who's going to play Hercules? Thor. Yeah, Chris Hemsworth. Perfect fit. If he was a lot younger, he'd be a perfect fit to play Hercules. They're going to need a young actor, for obvious reasons. But, all the musical aspect and all that. Who's going to play Zeus, Hades, James Woods would be perfect if he came back to play Hades. because he was like nearly the MVP for that movie. If you haven't seen Disney's Hercules, please go watch it and then come back to this podcast. Really, you're gonna love it. It does not disappoint at all. So guys, that is the biggest news that's happened the past week, besides this 1 year anniversary of Lights Camera Rant, which is the biggest news that's happened this past week. Of course, like, come on, and honestly, it's bigger than The Rock. I don't know, I'm just trying. He was the first celebrity I was trying to think of a bigger one, but yes, the 1 year anniversary, happy birthday, Lights Camera Rant is bigger than The Rock. Not any other day, but just this day, the 1 year anniversary. So guys, as you guys know, let's get into the reviews, which I got 5 for you. So hope you're strapped in. Hope you have your drink. Oh my god, yeah, I got Jameson. Jameson Cola at this moment, Irish whiskey. So I hope you guys enjoying it. You know, if you, as I said last time, if you're driving, glad you're not drinking. If you are not driving, and yeah, if you're not driving, I hope you're having a drink and enjoying this birthday celebration with me. Really appreciate it. So let's get into the reviews. So we got, as I said, we got Kenobi, we got Miss Marvel, we got The Boys, we got Jurassic World, Dominion, and we got Top Gun. So I've got the need for speed. Well, actually, I've got the need for Kenobi because episode 5 was so good. Sorry, so excited because like episode 4 was a bit meh. Like as I said last week, you could definitely tell it was a filler episode, but it did have its high points, which you could tell. But this started with a bang. So what we get at the very start is a flashback scene between Anakin and Obi-Wan Kenobi, which they're about to do a practice duel, which looks to be, judging from Hayden Christensen, it looks to be from between episode 2 and 3. Now, when I did see this and when it started the episode off, I thought, they're just going to tease us. That's going to be the only scene for the episode. Oh, before I move forward, even though I just said at the very start, spoilers left, right, and center. You know, I'm not gonna apologize because you guys know what we like to do right here. So when I did see this, I did think, as you guys will all know who's watched it, is the fact that I thought that was going to be the only scene. I thought they're just going to tease us. That was going to be it. However, what we got to the entire episode was a full duel between them, which honestly looked like they hadn't missed a beat when they were dueling, you know, with the lightsabers, and they looked good. And Hayden Christensen looked like, you could tell he was a little bit older. So was Obi-Wan Kenobi, but it was still, they didn't look that old. They didn't look that old that much. And I did see the other, just yesterday, someone put a deep fake on Hayden Christensen from episode 2, and geez, that put on the memory strings. Because when they were fighting, obviously it represented everything that happened in the episode, which the episode was obviously, Obi-Wan Kenobi and the clan, the survivors, if you will, trapped on that planet, and Vader with his ship was hunting them straight down because Reva put that little tracker on Princess Leia's little robot, Lola, which did say it. So obviously Vader hunts them down, traps them on the planet so they can't leave because Lola fiddles with the controls and the fact that the door, the entrance, they can't get out of because it's in like a ravine. So this episode had a lot of action in it, and it was also kind of heartbreaking too, because of the fact that Reva leads the attack against Obi-Wan and the survivors. And what we do see is we get a moment between Reva and Obi-Wan Kenobi between a wall, which looks like Obi-Wan was like reading her mind through the Force. And we find out, which a lot of people predicted, which is very true, Reva is a youngling. And she was there when Order 66 happened, which you see a fantastic flashback scene between Anakin walking with the clones, killing these younglings. And I have to be honest with you, I between Kenobi and maybe Mandalorian? Could be Mandalorian. I feel like we've seen a lot of Order 66 happen from different angles. I'm like, this is such a depressing time and all these younglings die. You know, it's kind of gut-wrenching. But you see this fantastic flashback scene and it's just menacing from the point of view of, you know, you see the fact that you see this Jedi who's a hero who you think is going to come and save you, but no, slaughters all your friends straight up in front of you. So we find out Reva is actually a youngling, which makes sense why the other Inquisitors don't like her, because of the fact they know what she is. She's not, you know, she wasn't with the Force and then turned pure evil, with the fact that she was a youngling, which they all know. So we do get this wonderful scene between that, and you see Reva starting to shake the fact that the reason she knew Darth Vader was Anakin was because she was there, which Kenobi says. And then Kenobi realizes the fact that they're stuck. He's going to have to give himself up to, obviously, Darth Vader. And Reva tells Darth Vader, and he comes down from his ship to kill Obi-Wan Kenobi. And as, you know, because all the stormtroopers start coming through, and with Reva, flip back, before Darth Vader comes down, the stormtroopers and Reva start going through the tunnel, this cavern they're working on. They're trying to shoot and fire, which unfortunately Taylor, she dies. She dies with her robot, which I found to be a very sad scene. It was very sad because, you know, she was just, you know, she was there to help people, and her robot was trying to protect her, and it just got really sad. And she sacrificed herself with a bomb to, you know, make a break between Obi-Wan, the survivors, and Reva and the stormtroopers, which then lead to Obi-Wan Kenobi giving himself up to Reva, and then Darth Vader coming down. Which we get a fantastic scene where the ship looks like it's about to leave. Darth Vader stops it. It's a great scene. Stops it with the Force and shows you how powerful he is. Stops it and brings it down, tears it up, and he can't see anybody, you know, in the ship. And there's a second ship that flies off. Don't explain to me how there was a ship hiding in a ship, but how that got away. And obviously, the magic of television. But then, Obi-Wan, the survivors get away because the fact that Princess Leia, she was able to fix Lola and fix the door to hang a base so they can get out. And then what we also get next is Reva, who goes to kill Darth Vader. But Darth Vader stops her, which then leads to them having a duel or a fight. And it just shows you how powerful Darth Vader is. He's whooping her ass like there's no tomorrow, like she's an ant under her boot, or like you're nothing to me. I can tear you from limb. And then a very important scene is the fact that Darth Vader says, like, don't you think I know what you were going to try and do, youngling? So he knows the entire time that he slaughtered all of her friends and that fact that she's there. And of course, he stabs her with a lightsaber and she's down on the ground. And then what we see, the Grand Inquisitor come back. Yep. He comes back, which he died in episode 2, which we thought, but now he comes back because apparently his species has multiple stomachs. So that's very lucky. Very lucky. And then what we get is that Darth Vader and the Grand Inquisitor leave. Reva's still on the ground, and how she's still alive, I'm really not too sure, to be honest, because he just got stabbed by a lightsaber, and other people seem to die. You know, it's actually quite funny. I saw the best meme the other day, which was like, you know, Qui-Gon Jinn, the only person who can get stabbed by a lightsaber or have a limb cut off and not survive. He's the only one who has not survived or come back, if you think about it. Between Reva, who's currently right now crawling on the ground, who's been stabbed, and the fact that Darth Maul came back, and Luke came back. Well, Luke came back because his arm got chopped off, but funny about that. And then you do get to see the fact that she finds, Reva, as she's crawling on the ground, she finds the transmitter that Obi-Wan was using to talk to, oh my god, his name escapes me, but the dad of Princess Leia. And this leads to Obi-Wan Kenobi having like a panic attack because he realizes what she's found, and the episode ends with a picture looking at Luke back on Tatooine, and then boom, cut, print, that's the episode. So this episode had great action, and it was sad, you felt it, and even the fact there's only one episode left, the intensity still rose. Now, obviously, then we partially know how this has to end. Darth Vader doesn't know about the kids. Princess Leia goes home. Oh, just have a little bit later. Reva obviously dies at some point because we never see her again. And Obi-Wan stays on Tatooine, and Darth Vader does not know that Obi-Wan is on Tatooine. You know, that's how it's going to end. So obviously, if we know how it's going to, what big battle are we going to have? Because surely we're going to get another lightsaber battle between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan. Has to be. You know, that's what we're clamoring for, and that's what we have. You know, not saying we have to get it, but they still have to have another swing at each other. Because if they don't, I'll be like, oh, no, they need to have another swing at each other, 100%. And obviously Reva at some point. So honestly, episode 5 was a complete incline up compared to episode 4. Leading episode 6, which this week is the last episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So guys, you tell me, are you enjoying Kenobi? Are you pumped for the final? You know, are you already written off and like, nah, it's done. It's, you know, it's not interesting at all. But right now, I'm still enjoying Kenobi very much. And just honestly, say what you will about Disney and them owning Star Wars, but one thing I can guarantee, which they have proven, is that they have done Darth Vader justice every single time he is on screen. They have written his character, they've written every appearance he has had fantastically. You know, look at Rogue One. Look at everything that's happening right now in Kenobi. Darth Vader has been written as menacing, powerful, and something to be reckoned with. That's it. You know, above all else, they have done him complete justice. Now, at no point have I gone, that's really not something Darth Vader would do, or, you know, they've kind of skimmed where they're like, no. Just every scene he's been in has been intense, showing his power, showing how ruthless he is, and it's just been fantastic to watch. And if you don't believe me, go back and watch episode 3 when Kenobi fights Darth Vader. That scene in the sand or the desert at night, just fantastic. Burns Kenobi in fire. Like, Jesus. God. And point proven. So guys, that's episode 5 locked in. So, moving on. Let's go into Miss Marvel. Which honestly would... Look, Miss Marvel, I'm watching it because it is Marvel, but I have to admit, I'm not... Wow, what's gonna happen next? What? Like, you know, not like WandaVision, not like Loki, you know, even like Hawkeye to a degree. Like, I don't know, it's just something about, it's not fully taking me away. Maybe because maybe about the age gap, because I'm like nearly 30, compared to like, this is more of like a coming of age story for like teenagers. I saw a post the other day that apparently, you know, Miss Marvel isn't the, apparently it's the lowest viewership for a Marvel Disney Plus show, which, you know, I wouldn't take that as a loss. That's not performing very well, so it's a complete failure on Marvel's part. They're losing their game. No, that's not what's happening. You got to remember the fact that, you know, they're using an actor who hasn't been previously in anything big, and a character that's not overly popular in today's market. You know, let's flip it around. If they brought out this Disney Plus show after the Captain Marvel 2 where she's in, the viewership would be higher. That's the thing. So, it would be to flip around because not everyone's exposed to it. Obviously for Disney Plus, because there's some people who just see the movies. Some people don't always go watch the TV shows. You know, you got to remember the fact that WandaVision had both Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen, who's been in the movies. Hawkeye, obvious. Loki, obvious. You know, same with Captain Falcon. You know, characters have already been on the big screen. You know, or have that leverage. We're watching the show with a character that hasn't gone on the big screen the very first time. And then yes, you could turn around and go, well, what about Moon Knight? Moon Knight wasn't on a big screen, and that blew out of the water. Yes, but you got to remember that it had Oscar Isaac, who has been in multiple big picture movies. Not to mention Dune just came out a couple of months prior, so his name's well established. We have this character, an actor, who hasn't been in anything as big as that. So that's the justification. Like, I'm not trying to justify it. I'm just trying to give it more reality. When I see something like that, and when I see the comments say the fact that, this is a loss from Marvel, this is horrible. Like, no, let's take everything into a factor, all right? And see, why the viewership is that down low. Yeah, people who are watching it are kids and hardcore fans like myself. Yes, I'm not being blown away for it, but the best thing about the show is diving back into the Marvel world again. Don't get me wrong, we're seeing the Marvel world with the entirety of world, not like Moon Knight. So it's nice seeing all these characters again. It's nice, hearing everything that's happened, happened since. Yes, she's not, the biggest name, biggest character. Yes, it's a different setting, but I'm still enjoying it to a degree. Am I overly excited to see the next episode? No, not at all. But I will still watch it because I love, obviously, the MCU and everything, the world building. And obviously this episode began with, obviously, Kamala, doing the training montage with her powers, which we do see. The CGI was good, I get that. And what we also see is more her world, her religion, what her life is. We do get all that aspect. And what her relationship is with her friends. We get to see her love interest with Cameron. I probably butchered that, so I'm sorry. We get that, the lover boy, and the fact that Bruno, her best friend's in love with her. Duh. So we do get that aspect. And then the interesting thing is the fact that she, obviously with the bracelet, her mum won't talk about her mum. And we do get a little background about that, the struggles with their family, coming to America, which also makes it very grounded as well. We get to see that, and the fact that she won't talk about the mum or where this bracelet came from, which is very interesting to see and say, okay, well, what's the backstory about that? That's probably the most thing that I'm intrigued about, is like, what's the backstory of this bracelet that has cosmic powers? And not to mention, you go remember in the first episode, when she put the bracelet on and started to use it, she flipped upside down, and there was a whole bunch of these people in this world, which almost looked like the celestial plane that we saw in Black Panther, or something more cosmic. So we see that aspect. So that's probably the biggest intrigue I've got. And interest, but acting wise across the board, I still like the animation that they're doing, or texting and all that. I'm liking that too. And as we get to see Kamala's life, her interaction with her family, her church and everything, she also goes. This kid tries to do a selfie, and then obviously he's doing it at the very top of the window, and he starts to fall. So Kamala's going to become Miss Marvel. She saves him. Funny enough, for everyone who knows, he's the shoe thief. He's the one who stole Kamala's best friend's shoes. They do fine, because you do see. But we do see Kamala use her powers. She's still struggling with it. And we just, obviously for obvious reasons, but she does try her very best. And then the cops, who were seen at the end of episode 1 and also interrogate one of the high school kids, track her down which looks almost like the robots or the flying robots from Far From Home. They projected all of them. There was robots that look like that. We see them track her down, and after she saves the kid, and as she's getting away through it, and escapes them, her new love interest, obviously the heartthrob Cameron, saves her, and then he's like, "Here's my mum," and his mum goes, "I've been waiting to meet you for a very long time, Camilla." Camelot. Sorry about that. So we see that, and that's how the episode ends. So it's obviously, hits the main points of the training montage, more about the family life, and the fact that she's being chased because she's using her powers to save everybody. So it was a good episode. My personal thing is it was a good episode, but nothing that I went, wow, that's cool. It was just, I don't know if it was a filler episode, but it was just a continuation kind of episode, just getting more in depth with the character. I can honestly say not fully wowed, as you would know. And then we also get a nice little callback about Kringo. Kingo from the Internals. He gets mentioned, so we get to see the fact that they all know who the Internals are. I mean, not all of them, but just Kringo, because he's also in those Bollywood films. But they obviously don't know he's an Internal. Spoil it. But yeah, look, guys, tell me, are you enjoying Miss Marvel at the moment, or are you just like, no, complete pass, just give me Loki season 2, and I'll be on my way. Which, completely understandable. I get it. But, let's move over to something a little bit more gut-punching, a little bit more guts, and a little bit more Seth Rogen. Let's look at The Boys, episode 5. So, this is what I'm more excited about, honestly. Kenobi, because of being a deep fan, but then you got The Boys, episode 5, which, after the last episode, obviously, they go back to America, because, Soldier Boy got away. Kimiko, she goes to the hospital. And yes, this was briefly announced to be a musical episode, but spoiler alert, there was one musical scene which doesn't even go for that long. They do it very well, but there's only one particular scene. So we see all the characters back again together, and we see the fact that Butcher's really gutted because they've lost Soldier Boy, and the fact that the team's kind of crumbled because Kimiko is in the hospital, which we get a lovely scene. The fact that between her and Frenchie, the fact she's lost her powers, she's over the moon, and she starts talking. And then Frenchie and her have a kiss, opens up with her, which would have been really nice. However, the chick from his past that helped him get to Russia tells him that he needs to go kill someone and a kid, but he doesn't want to do that. And right at the end of the episode, he gets hauled off with her crew after he just kisses Kimiko, and Kimiko is left in the hospital not knowing where he's gone. So I was like, oh, he just got to that point. Oh. I was like, that's all right, that's fine. And then we also get the fact that Butcher and Maeve, Butcher gets more of the temporary V, and then Maeve and Butcher get on, which I wasn't expecting. I was like, oh, okay, alrighty. We do get to see that to a degree. Not as much as you think. And then Butcher, after that, takes the temporary V, meets up with Huey and Mother's Milk, and what they do is they make a plan to go meet Crimson, what's her name? Crimson Countess. Crimson Countess. Go meet her because the fact they find out, meeting another bloke, that Soldier Boy is after her because the fact that they previously loved each other before he went MIA. Speaking of Soldier Boy, Jason Ackles doesn't have a lot of scenes, but he nails it, and he does go nuclear. In the street in a street, which we see that he might not be able to fully control his nuclear powers. That was just a street. What happens even more so? Like, how big is he going to go? Big a nuclear warhead? So potentially he will have to die or kill himself somehow. I'm not getting into that right now. So we do get an aspect. Seth Rogen makes an appearance, which was so funny. I was not expecting that. Sorry. Crimson Cantress, she looks like she's talking to him about saving animals and everything. And he's like, actually, I don't give a shit. Let's get into this. And it looks like some kind of like paid content. Naughty, really, that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Which gets interrupted because the boys rock up. And then Seth Rogen's like, no, which you can imagine how that scene would have played out. So, wasn't expecting Seth Rogen, but him being a producer, bloody fantastic. We also get that Homelander is struggling with handling the business side of things. Like, his mind is so far away, from everything because he's trying to focus on the business, the stocks and everything, because there's no one else to organize it. Because we do see, at the very start of the episode, he tries to have a board meeting, and one of the ladies asks him a lot of business questions, and then he flips out to a degree. He's like, are you trying to say you're better than me? And she's like, no, I'm just asking you a question. And obviously she's going to leave. The Deep cuts the Deep is hired for their crime section, which looks at all the crime over the city or the world. They cut that down, so they're only Homelander true people. So that's going down. Honestly, the Vought, the corporation, is going down. I have no idea how this is going to be headed. This is going to blow up over the next 2 episodes. Homeland is going to explode, or something is going to happen massively. Because we do see that. We do see A-Train has a meeting with Black Hawk about everything he's doing in the African American community. He's being a little bit brutal, which doesn't go very well when Black Hawk does to go do a in the journey episode. He goes to do an apology to the black community, the African American community. My apologies, which goes terribly bad, and he's like, soup lives matter, white people lives matter, black lives matter. He gets a little bit testy, and he starts pushing people around because they start heckling him because his apology was shit. And then when he leaves, unfortunately, A-Train's brother was in all of that, and we find out the fact that when they go to the hospital that he's paralyzed and he might never walk again. So A-Train is struggling with that as well, and the fact that Starla even says to him the fact that why would you help someone who doesn't give a shit about you and doesn't like you? And he seems to struggle with that. And now everything's just happened with his brother. How is that going to go about? And next episodes to come. So I feel bad for A-Train to a degree. She killed, because of him, the other guy died. Actually, he didn't die. He got brutally murdered. No joke. And how the episode actually ends, how it actually ends is that they use Crimson Candles as bait for when Soldier Boy rocks up. But as Soldier Boy goes to rock up, Butcher has a conversation with him saying, look, I can help you if you help me. And then it leads to, obviously, between Starlight and Huey, they have a small argument because Huey wants to use more powers, which he did take it. She doesn't want him to take the powers because she's afraid he'll get addicted, which it looks like Huey is addicted to the temporary V. And as that's going to happen, Soldier Boy goes and sees Crimson Cantress, and the fact that he's saying that I loved you, how could you do this to me? And she says, I hate you. I hate you. And she's like, I had no idea what they're going to do to you, and they didn't pay me to do it. And then next thing you know, Soldier Boy goes nuclear and fries the bitch. She is absolutely smoked, like smoked ribs. There is nothing but flesh and rib and bone. Whew. There's nothing left of her. That was a very short-lived character. Goodbye. So you won't be seeing her anytime soon because she's crispy, extra crispy. And then Soldier Boy starts to leave with Butcher. Butcher says to Huey, "Are you coming?" Which has a scene between Huey and Starlight. You know, Starlight says, "Don't go." Huey still goes, which, you know, is a big friction between their relationship. So it's going to be interesting to see how that's going to happen in the next episodes. So that, I hope you guys keep it up. But yeah, that was a whole episode. So I will admit, like, it was still a good episode. However, I would say the fact that it was not, episode 5, I would say it's not the very top tier of this season. I would say, it's good, but not like, it's not going to be the episode that you go back to watch a lot when you go rewatch this season. Because I feel like it progressed the story, but nothing was like, oh my god. I think it was great, or that was fantastic. It was just more of, progressing the story, moving on. But, guys, did you tell me, did you like episode 5? Are you pumped for the next 3 episodes? Because there's only 6, 7, 8 that's left. And then, well, we get season 4 of The Boys, which is fantastic. But, honestly, where the next 3 episodes of The Boys are going to go is just going to be mind-boggling. And you need to get onto it. You need to start watching The Boys, ladies and gentlemen, because it's honestly some of the best content on streaming service right now. You just got to get through the first 10 minutes of the very first episode of season 3, and you'll be fine. If you could survive that, you could survive the entire episode. So, it's going to, what's going to happen to Frenchie? What's going to happen to Huey? What's going to happen to Soldier Boy? I just can't wait for Soldier Boy to verse Homelander. If that's the end of the last episode, that's going to be an absolute killer fight, and it's going to be brutal. This season, fully predict this is going to end on a massive cliffhanger. Someone major is going to die, and it's just going to be intense the whole way. So you guys need to strap yourselves in and get ready and come along the journey, because, honestly, can't love it enough or enjoy it enough. It's just fucking fantastic, honestly. So, alright, so let's move on. Alright, so let's get into Jurassic World Dominion, and let's get into Top Gun Maverick. Alright, so Jurassic Park Dominion. So this is the 6th entry in the Jurassic Park franchise. This had a budget of $180 million. The box office currently right now is reported to be $486 million, so that's definitely up. And yeah, this is the 6th entry. So we had Jurassic Park 1, 1993, Jurassic Park 2, 1997, Jurassic Park 3, 2001, Jurassic World, 2015, and Jurassic World 2, The Fallen Kingdom in 2018. So this particular entry, what we see is the fact we see the new cast return with the old cast. And both the legacy characters, meaning the new generation characters, and what we also get is the fact that from what happened in the end of the Fallen Kingdom is that dinosaurs are free in the world now because they were brought across, which this particular film conveys to a degree. So as the movie starts off, we do see it does a very good background story on the history of the Jurassic Park franchise and where everything is right now with the world, and we do get to see the elements of where the animals are living and everything. Who this new company called Bison are doing. They're studying the dinosaurs. They have a sanctuary, and what they're trying to do is, cure disease, all that kind of aspect of, genetics, trying to do the real forefront, and instead of what Ingen and what John Hammond did. And so we get that nice little backstory. We see that the returning characters, Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, all return, and the fact that we get Sam Neill, Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum back as well. And we get Dr. What's his name? His name? Dr. I forgot his name. The scientist, obviously, who started Jurassic Park. all the generics from episode 1. So a lot of people return for this film, which I find is fantastic. Now the story is obviously dealing with the struggle of the dinosaurs in the real world. But what a big threat is at the moment, which we do see, is the fact that Henry Wu, he returns as well. And what we do get to see is that is currently right now there's a threat of these locusts that are apparently eating all these crops intensely, like they're super locusts, very threatening. There's a scene at the very start that you feel sorry for these two kids, really bad, and because it's a bit of an intense scene that does happen, and you see that these locusts are eating all these crops so fast and so rapidly, but they're not eating Biosyn's crops, of course. And in fact, that they're swarms, and they're actually really threatening the food supply around the world. So the legacy characters go in that direction, trying to study, and then we see that Ellie Sattler goes back and meets Alan Grant, who is still digging up bones, old school, after what happened with Jurassic Park and Jurassic Park 3. And then we get to see that Ian Malcolm, Jeff Goldblum, is working at Biosyn at their sanctuary, doing Jeff Goldblum-esque stuff, perfect Ian Malcolm stuff. We get that aspect of them doing that, and on the flip side, we get both Chris Pratt's character and Bruce Dallas Howard's character. They're isolated off. They're trying to save dinosaurs, from captivity because people are using them on the black market. And the fact that they're living in a cabin in the woods, great movie by the way. And Blue, and also Velociraptor Blue, which we all remember, lives in the woods with them, and she had a baby, which by herself. Which did raise a lot of questions, which we, do see, but, we can see in multiple different movies how the genetics have changed each time to obviously make a bigger bad guy, and also how, the fact that, all the dinosaurs were female at one point, which we see almost twice, the fact that dinosaurs can reproduce even though they're just female, because they get the DNA from a frog or from a lizard, which means they can produce, I think it's asexually. So they don't need a partner. They can just do it themselves. Aspect. So we see these two, these two journeys. So they both go off in different directions. And then as the plot progresses, we see the fact that, these locusts are causing a massive menace. Henry Wu actually created these locusts, and he didn't mean to do it, but he can't fix it because he needs the genetic code from Blue and from the little girl that both Owen Grady and Claire are looking after, which is Maisie Lockwood, played by Isabel Sermon, which we all remember the fact that she was the first cloned human. That's what we do get to see, which touches back on the Fallen Kingdom. So they get captured by poachers and taken to Biosyn, which turns into this world journey that we do get to see. We get to see the black market of, of the black market of dinosaurs, people selling them, people training raptors, dinosaur meat. If you're into PETA, animal protection, everything, you probably wouldn't like this movie. So we do get that little world aspect, how the world is struggling, where dinosaurs are in the world. People are just dying regularly because, both flying dinosaurs and normal dinosaurs, it's a struggle for them to coexist. It's a massive threat. If you're trying to live your day and then, just have a carnivore come past and pick you up for lunch. So we do get that world. So the CGI in this movie is fantastic. The action scenes are quite decent, in this as well. But I'm going to be honest with you, I watched it and, it just comes to a point where I just got to myself, I was like, okay, it's good seeing these characters. My childhood heartstrings were pulled, and then, you know, you get to see new characters, which was fantastic. And then, obviously, as the story progresses, they do get to meet at one point, and you hear the Jurassic Park theme, which was such a heartwarming moment. We saw the new generation meet the old generation. That was fantastic. And what you do get to see, you get to see a whole bunch of new dinosaurs, which are good. Some you haven't seen before. In the sanctuary, which is almost like at the convene of like a multiple mountains. So there's no park anymore. That's completely gone. But we do get to see this brand new villain, which his name is called Lewis, who, what he wants to do is the fact that he wants to fill the locusts. He wants to fix all the locusts, obviously, but he doesn't want to get out to the world the fact that they created it. He's kind of like an oddball person, a very unforgettable villain. You're not going to remember this guy at all. So don't worry, even if I tell you his name, you're not gonna remember him at all. That was very, very forgettable, aspect, and we do get a lot of callbacks. Look, there was a few callbacks or fan services. Some was nice, but some was like, to be honest, I was like, oh, that's a bit on the nose. It probably wasn't too needed. I was like, okay, that's a little bit too much on the nose. Some callbacks that you do get to see was really good. And you're like, oh, yeah, I remember that. Ian Malcolm with the fire and the flare in his hand, waving at a dinosaur. Alan Grant and both Owen Brady both going, they see a giant dinosaur, a T-Rex looking dinosaur going, whatever you do, don't move. It's funny, Jeff Goldblum with Malcolm's character has one of the best one-liners in the entire movie. He was great. He's one of the had best one-liners in the entire movie. But honestly, I was watching it and I wasn't blown away. And I just, as this being the last movie with both these legacy characters, I watched the whole thing and thought some of this was not rememberable. Or I watched it and thought, I have no urgent need to go back and watch this when it comes out on streaming. And as for me personally, obviously there's some of the critics have said the fact it's very meh. I don't think it's meh. I think it has a lot of merit into it. Some of the action scenes and some of the acting was all fantastic. But as coming to the conclusion of nearly 6 films, I feel like it kind of didn't hit the point. Not to mention the fact that the threat, the actual villain in this entire movie is the locusts. That's these generic altered locusts. They're the biggest threat. They're the enemy. Not the dinosaurs. There's no park. There's nothing like that. It's not even the dinosaurs that are a threat. It's the locusts. They're the biggest problem. Yes, dinosaurs are living in the real world and they're killing people, but not. This is killing people's food stores, which is which is worse. And I gotta be honest with you. If someone said to me you want to go back and watch Jurassic Park, I'm like, yeah, I'll watch Jurassic Park 1, 2, 4, 3, 5, and 6. I didn't like Jurassic Park The Fallen Kingdom. Thought that was a bit average. And this even, I think, is a bit nothing gobsmacked, to be honest with you. Jurassic Park 1 and 2 are great. Jurassic Park 4, obviously Jurassic World 1, which was great. You finally got to see the park open. Jurassic Park 3 wasn't that bad. Yes, a bit of a side story, but still good. And then you get 5, which I didn't... 6 would be with me... Actually, I put 6 above 5 because the legacy characters. So if you're looking for these characters, if you're an old fan, you'll like seeing all these characters again. However, it's almost... You're just going to see the new generation meet the old generation and completely forgetting about the plot. Just right at the end, there's a brand new dinosaur that we have to see. which is called a Giganotosaurus. I tried butchered that. I butchered that terribly. So we get to see that, and it fights a T-Rex. Looks like it kills the T-Rex, obviously, and then starts fighting this other dinosaur called the Tyrannosaurus. Well, I'm butchering all this. Dinosaur names are so annoying. And what happens? T-Rex does the whole eye open after being died, so it's not dead yet. And then this dinosaur and the other one team up and kill the bigger one. I'm like, what? That would not happen. That would not happen ever. Ever. At all. So that was a bit like, okay. Yeah, that was a bit, I was like, of course the T-Rex wasn't going to die at the end of the entire franchise. But at the same time, I was like, okay, that was a bit on the nose. And obviously they do escape. Obviously all the characters, everybody lives. And right at the end, we get this wonderful scene with all the characters going on their own way. We finally get to see Ali Settler and Alan Grant together, which was good. That was a good plot from the Jurassic Park 1. And the fact we see the United Nations declares the valley, the sanctuary, to be a global heritage site for all the dinosaurs to live in peace without infecting the entire world. Also, there are some still dinosaurs in the world, which we get some wonderful scenes with animals coexisting, that they get along, so the dinosaurs can live with man. But also in the whole locusts, that gets cured as well. But yeah, me just telling you the plot of this just makes it just a bit average to me. And honestly, it's not a movie I'm going to come back to unless I want to see the legacy characters. That's it, to be honest with you. So I would love to know what you guys think. Like, did you enjoy it? Do you think I was being a little too harsh on it? Or my expectations were too high? Or, just the fact that it actually was that little bit subpar. So I'd love to know what you guys think. So definitely let me know. Let's get on to our last review, which is Top Gun Maverick, which was 100 times better than Jurassic World Dominion. So, Top Gun Maverick. This particular movie, Tom Cruise returning from his titular role as Top Gun in the very first Top Gun. Budget, $170 million. Box office, currently right now, $817 million at the global box office, and is the highest grossing movie in Tom Cruise's career. Out of all of his movies, this is the highest grossing. Originally, this was meant to be released in 2019, but got delayed due to due to COVID. So we've been waiting for this for nearly 2 years, a lot like other movies. And this movie, the action is fantastic. The music is fantastic. The story is solid. The acting is great. And you do not need to go see the first one to see this movie. They do it very well to convey everything that's happened in the first film that leads into this movie. So this movie goes for about 2 hours and it is action-packed. And honestly, I was not going to go see this in the movies. It didn't interest me. However, Maddie wanted to go see it, and Zach from the Nerd Dose podcast, he was telling me, you need to go see it. It's so good. And I was like, all right, I'll go see it. And truth be told, it is fantastic. It is a solid action movie, and I recommend anyone to go watch it. They even do which I didn't think was going to happen, but in the opening scene, very reminiscent of the very first one. They do a montage on the I was about to say helicarriers, but the jet carriers, and you get to hear highway to the danger zone. We get that, which was fantastic. I wasn't expecting to hear that song, but that was really good. And I was like, all right, I definitely draw back to when I very first saw Top Gun, which has been a very long time. So what we get to see is the fact that Maverick, he's testing these new planes, but he's still a captain. He hasn't progressed up the chain of the command. And one of his commanders does say that you have such this this fantastic career, like you should be a lot higher. And you can see the fact he's happy just being where he is. It's almost, which we do get to see in this movie, that he's struggling to move on to other things and grow. Like he likes being, not stagnant, but likes formality, comfortability of what he's doing right now, which we get to see. Which Tom Cruise conveys very well. As the movie progresses, we also see the fact that he kind of has this like PTSD still covering from the first Top Gun, with everything happened with Goose. Every time it's mentioned, and obviously Goose's son Rooster, which it's been played by Miles Teller. We do see that he kind of still has that PTSD of everything happened that shakes him to the core, and we do get, which Tom Cruise does a fantastic job in this movie. And all the actors, you know, do great. So what happens is the fact he gets called in to train a new group of fighter jets who have all graduated from Top Gun, which is the flight school, which you guys would all know obviously from the very first one. So they're going to train these new fighter pilots for a very dangerous mission. So he comes in as the teacher, which at the start he didn't feel like he could do it, but he does, to make sure to get these kids ready for what's going to happen. Which we can also already see all these newcomers have their own bond, and obviously don't trust Gramps, to a degree. And we do get to see the fact that Miles Teller, playing obviously Goose's son, blames Maverick for what happened, and you do see that, which Miles Teller does a fantastic job conveying that. And just the action in this, so 95% of everything you see is fully practical effects. There's only one scene, I think, the fact that they mentioned the fact that it's CGI, and it's just like looking into the sun. That's probably the only CGI point, but everything was fully practical effects. And you hear the roaring of the jets in every scene. It's fantastic. It's shot very well. Honestly, it's still a solid action movie. And we also get to see Val Kilmer. He returns to do a cameo. Now, unfortunately, Val Kilmer is not doing very well. He's obviously very sick and he can't actually talk due to cancer. So he does talk in the movie, but that's actually an AI talking to make it sound like him in that scene, which was very cool because it sounded like pure like Val Kilmer. If I didn't know, you couldn't tell the fact that he wasn't talking. He does that very well and has a very heartwarming scene. And you see that Val Kilmer's character Iceman has been supporting and helping Maverick this entire time in the military. And the fact that Iceman kept going straight up, becoming a commander of the USS Pacific Fleet at one point. We do get to see that. And the movie also does obviously a lot of flashbacks to the first one. So that's what I mean. Like, they do it very well to the point you don't need to, for a new generation coming in watching this movie, you don't need to watch the first one. It catches you up on everything. So you can go to the movie straight on. Very curious in this movie is the fact that I did notice the fact when they're talking about where they're going to go for this mission to blow up this facility that contains uranium, they don't mention where they're going. They don't mention who the enemy is. And when you do see the enemy in other fighter jets, they're wearing a full mask, so you can't actually see the enemy as well. So I found that very curious. They don't actually mention who they're going to fight, where they're going to fight. So I thought, okay, I understand why they're doing that, but you can understand why. But, honestly, solid movie. So obviously he tries to train this new team. We get a good bonding session. We do see the fact that Maverick also falls in love with his old love interest, because we don't see the girl from the first movie doesn't even get mentioned. So that don't know what really happened there. But we didn't really get mentioned at that point. So he falls in love with an old flame, which is played by Jennifer Connelly. We get to see that. So that's a good bonding, him coming close to the fact that he's going to settle down with her, and he's going to stop moving because it's coming to the end of his career as well. This is Maverick's final mission, and then he's going to he has to retire because the Navy has told him he has to, because unfortunately Val Kilmer's character Iceman does pass away in the movie, which pushes Tom Cruise Maverick to, you know, train these kids, and, you know, it leads them going into this mission, fully action, fantastic. You feel the drama, you could hear the roaring of the jets. That was all fantastic, and you do get this, you obviously the fact that you always get a point where you think that Maverick's going to die, but he doesn't, and you just, you know, trust your instincts, trust the pilot, don't trust, you know, you can read everything in the manual of a machine, but you got to trust your instincts. And it conveys that very well, so I can see why this has made so much money. I can see why the fact that, you know, Tom Cruise's performance, it's a fantastic movie. So if you're looking for an action movie, if you're looking for something a bit different, if you're sick of superheroes, I highly recommend it. You know, also multiple sequels. I highly recommend this. Almost, you could obviously just put this in a corner and not connect it much to the very first one at all. That's what I mean. Like, you could just pick this up straight away and then not know there's actually a first one at all because of how it's written really well. So, guys, go check out Top Gun Maverick before it leaves cinemas. It's a great movie. I honestly can't speak highly enough. Solid all the way through. I got nothing really that I could say that really didn't. I was like, oh, that's a bit funny. Like, honestly, just thoroughly enjoyed it from start to end. And it makes me want to go back and watch the first one. Because it's been like 30 years since the very first one, which you can tell because there's a photo between, obviously, you know, Tom Cruise's age, so you can definitely notice that. But yeah, definitely go check that out and let me know what you think of Top Gun Maverick. Let me know. And guys, look, I want to say again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining me in the 1 year anniversary celebration of Lights Camera Rant. It means the world to me. It really does, and I can't wait to bring you guys more content every single Tuesday. That you tune in, jump on Instagram, jump onto Facebook, jump onto Twitter. I'm gonna make sure the fact that I'm gonna do my very best to keep you guys updated, and so you don't miss a beat. And guys, every single episode and every episode to come, you guys know what happens next. So remember, happy ranting, and I'll see you in the next year of Lights Camera Rant episodes, and I hope you will join me for the 100th episode. So until next time, guys, as I said, happy ranting.
Thanks for listening to Lights, Camera, Rant. If you like the show, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. While you're at it, leave us a rating and review, and be sure to tell your friends. Until next time, happy ranting.